to become a second-tier nation. He said the United States is growing so quickly and is so technologically advanced that if France and Europe don't collectively get their act together, they'll be proverbial backwaters. And the book had a big impact on how people thought about the future of their country and things they needed to do. In my experience over my business career of 25 years, now doing business in places around the world, I became concerned that what I thought about America, that we were light years ahead of everyone else, is not actually true. And that increasingly other nations are getting closer and closer to us. Their schools are better. Their innovative skills are becoming more and more remarkable. Their capability in productivity is astounding in many respects. And that unless America gets serious about the challenges we face, we could find ourselves falling behind. Now, at the same time, I'm looking at a competition of global competitors, if you will, for the leadership of the 21st century. When I grew up, there was a global competition between us and the Soviet Union. And I remember Nikita Khrushchev, the head of the Soviet Union, taking off his shoe, pounding it at the United Nations, saying, "We will bury you." It was us against them. In elementary school, kids were taught to climb under their desk. We didn't do fire drills, we did bomb drills. This was in case of a nuclear attack. Mind you, I don't know what a desk would do in the case of a nuclear attack, but that's what we did. And we won that competition, and they lost. And I had presumed that following the Cold War's end, that the nations of the world recognized that our model was the model that was the model of success and the model of the future for every country in the world, almost, in its own shape and form, depending upon the culture of each nation. What's happened in the ensuing couple of decades, however, is a competitive array that is far more significant than what I'd expected. We now have, at least in my view, 4 major competitors that are vying for leadership in the 21st century and beyond. Our strategy is one of those. And I say ours, I'm referring to the West collectively. It has 2 fundamental principles, and that is first, economic freedom, and secondly, political freedom or personal freedom. That strategy has led us to be the most powerful nation on earth. Then there's China. China has embraced, to a great degree, economic freedom. They practice capitalism, frankly, in some ways that are even more Wild West than we do. But they have married that with authoritarian rule, and they believe their strategy will win, and they're selling it to dictatorships around the world, saying, give up on communism, socialism, embrace free enterprise, and marry that with authoritarian rule, and that's the model for the future. Because those democracies make short-term decisions that are in short-term best interests of people and will long-term spell their doom. Then you have a third strategy represented by Russia. Their strategy, also like China's, is based on authoritarian rule, but they combine that with their energy strategy. They have a lot of energy. More natural gas than anyone in the world, as much coal as anyone else in the world. They're tied with us. Massive resources in oil. They sold more energy last year than Saudi Arabia. They're using the hundreds of billions they're generating in selling natural resources to rebuild their military and to become an economic powerhouse. And the fourth strategy is really not represented by any one country. It's more of a movement across borders. Perhaps Iran represents this strategy. It's radical, violent jihadism. And their strategy is very simple. Authoritarian rule, but based upon the collapse of the other 3, they intend to unleash the hidden imam or the caliphate and ultimately rule the world. Now, I see that competition going on and recognize that of all those strategies, only one includes freedom, personal freedom, political freedom, ours. Only if America remains strong and the successful strategy, if you will, of the 21st century, can we guarantee that our kids and theirs will have a land that's free and a world that's peaceful and free. And so I believe it's essential for America to remain strong. And therefore, as I look at what's happening in the world and I look at our challenges as a nation, I become concerned that we are so complacent and unwilling to deal with our challenges directly and honestly that we're watching as America is becoming weaker. I think it was the author Charles Krauthammer that said that decline is a choice. And we are making choices which unfortunately are causing us to not remain as strong as we need to be given the challenges we face in the world. And that's true in education, it's true in family formation, it's true in innovation, in research, in science, it's true in our level of productivity. I look at what's happening in Washington and I'm convinced that our politicians on both sides of the aisle to some degree, have taken steps that weaken America. And the most recent example is that the massive deficits that we're racking up. Not just during this time, but over the next decade. The forecast is $10 trillion of additional deficit over the next 10 years. Right now we have $8 trillion in debt. We're going to go from 8 to 18 trillion, even larger than our total GDP. And on top of that, the promises that the baby boomers, my generation, have made to ourselves in entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security, are so substantial that they will crush the next generation with debt if we don't make them sustainable. So I look at those features and say, gosh, America has got to wake up and recognize that our strength and our leadership is essential for freedom, that a strong America is essential for peace in the world and for prosperity for ourselves and for our friends around the world, but that if we don't change course on a whole series of dimensions, we could end up falling short of that mission. So that's what the book is about. It touches almost all the third rails of American politics, the third, fourth, and fifth rail. I talk about Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, how I'd change them. I've had a number of people say to me, it's obvious you have no political plans because you wouldn't write this if you ever thought of running again. And that may well be true, but I think America has come to a point where people in this country recognize we can't keep going on the way we've been going. And it's time to tell the truth. And if people don't accept the truth, so be it. We got to tell the truth. Thank you.
Lots of things to talk about, to chew over in this book. You write early on, the world, of the point you just made at the very end, the world is a safer place, you write, when America is strong. American strength helps preserve world peace. Would it be fair to say, in your view, that just as cities need policing and states need policing, so in a sense the world needs policing as well, and that no country, no society is more fitted for that job than the United States?
Well, I don't know that the world expects us to run around the world and serve as the police officer of the world. And I don't know that we're up to that task from a financial standpoint or a moral standpoint. But I do believe that having a strong America suggests to the worst possible actors in the world that there is a significant risk. There's an ambiguity about what action we might take. If they take outrageous action, such as when Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait and was potentially on a march to go further into Saudi Arabia, they have to recognize there's a significant chance that America might act. And when really bad things happen in the world, there are not a lot of actors out there that really can make a difference. Whether it's in Bosnia-Herzegovina, whether it's in Kuwait, if there were no America, if America were extraordinarily weak, what would China be doing in Taiwan? What would Russia be doing in the Ukraine or in the rest of Georgia? What would Kim Jong-il be doing as it relates to South Korea? I can't tell you precisely, but I do believe that having a nation that is strong and that is also good-hearted is good for the world. Now, I know some would say, well, is America really good-hearted? I would submit absolutely. I would submit that when America acts militarily, we've made mistakes. We've oftentimes not understood the consequences of what was going on and made errors. But in my view, we have always acted out of a desire to do the right thing. And as a result of that, I believe there's nothing we need to apologize to for the world, but instead take pride in the sacrifice made by our men and women.
Let me ask you a question about each of the Russian and the Chinese models that you described. The Russian model, you say, is based on their exploitation of their energy resources. You'll know this better than I did, but my understanding was that when the price of oil plummeted, over the past couple of years, that wrought havoc with Russian foreign policy, because all of a sudden the rubles weren't coming in the degree they were before. Doesn't that suggest that the best possible strategy for combating Russia's strategy to achieve global dominance, if that's the strategy that it's embarked on, is to increase our own energy supplies by the maximum amount possible as quickly as possible?
Absolutely. Of the strategies you described, the two of them, radical violent jihadists and Russia, receive an extraordinary amount of their strength and their capacity through energy. And if energy is very, very expensive, they get stronger and stronger and stronger. And not only is it an advantage to them, but it's a disadvantage to us to send out of our country every year hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, it's like a massive tax on all of us. Every time you go to the gasoline pump, every time you turn on a light, every time we use energy of some kind, recognize it's effectively